Welcome to this video on the min and max functions in T-SQL or Transact SQL. So this is the first video where we start looking at some of the functions available to us inside of Transact SQL. And functions are basically just sort of reusable components of code that just reduce the time needed to access certain functionalities. So in this video, we're going to be looking at two functions, which is the min and the max function. So the min function basically returns the smallest value of a selected column, and the max function, as the name suggests, returns the largest value in a selected column. Just one thing to remember is that these functions operate on a particular column. So whenever you use the function, you'll have to use it with in relation to a specific column. So we look at that when we come to the syntax. But for now, let's just set up the environment. So for this video, I'm using Azure Data Studio because I'm on a Mac. And if you're on a Mac as well and you want to learn how to install it, I've got a video on that. I'll link to that in the top right corner. And for those on Windows, I'll link to another video I've done which teaches you how to install SQL Server Management Studio, which is the Windows tool you need. But most important thing is that if you're neither of these, the code, the logic, the syntax is all the same. It's just that the UI is a bit different. So you don't have to worry about any of those kind of issues. So you can follow along and just write the same code and everything should work. So, and the second part is I link to this GitHub repository in the description below. And in that you'll see two files. One is the minmax demo.sql, and in that file I'll put some queries down that we had used in this video, so you can copy and paste them in if you don't want to type them out. And also I'll have a table setup.sql. So this basically just contains a table structure and data to be inserted. So if you want to just use the same data that I'm using, you can press the copy button here, paste that whole set of commands into your whatever tool you're using, and you can run it, and then you'll have this table. So let's just show you the table that we have. So the table that you should have will look like this. You have an ID column, a first name, a last name, an email, gender, IP address, age, country, credit card, currency. So that's the table that you should have. And now let's get into the min max function. So let's just start with the basic use case for the min function. Let's start off with the min function. So what it does is, like the slide had pointed out, it goes into a column that you specify and it finds the minimum value in that column. So if it's a numeric column, it finds the smallest number, and if it's a string based or a text column, it finds in the alphabetical order, it finds the smallest value. So obviously a name starting with A would go first. So in this case, I'm just going to find the youngest age in the table data. So here's how we do that. I'll just put the syntax on the screen. So as you can see, it's just, you can write select min, open bracket and close bracket, and then specify the column name that you want to find the min inside of, and then it's just a simple from and the table name. So this should get us the youngest age inside this age column. So let's run it and see. Yeah, so we got there's somebody who's 1 year old, and that's the data that's returned. And similarly, if you want to do it with the max column, you just change the min to max and run. You get we know that there's somebody 100 years old in the data. So we get that age returned. And now, as you can see, it returns a no column name type. So normally with the min and max command, we use a concept called aliasing, which is to rename this column header to something that that makes it convenient for us to understand. So how we do that is, after we write the max or min function and specify the column name, we can put an as keyword and in single quotes specify what heading we want to give here. So suppose here we're looking at the max function, so we can give oldest age in the table, and now when we run it, we can see that we've got the heading oldest age in the table. So similarly, if it was min, you can just make it youngest age in the table and run. And we've got that 1-year-old as well. And another aspect of this min and max function is that it can be filtered by any condition that we had specified. That is, in one of our previous videos, we had looked at the where clause. So any condition that you can use in the where clause can be used to filter the min or the max function. So suppose we want to find the youngest Chinese customer. How we would do that is similar to the previous statement. We would start off with just finding the youngest customer in general, and then we would put a where clause where country is equal to China, and make sure the case matches the table data. And now when we run it, we see that it's 2 over here. So that's probably just to confirm that. We can select, just look at all the Chinese persons in the table, and then we can verify that the youngest age is 2. So we've got the Chinese data here, and we look at the age column. Yeah, so it looks like 2 is the youngest, so that works. And yeah, so even with aliasing, like I mentioned earlier, you can just put youngest Chinese person age and then run, and then you get that heading. So yeah, and similarly we can do it with max as well, and we can filter the max function with any criteria that is valid. So now another interesting use case is, suppose we wanted to find the name of the youngest person in the table, right? So your conventional logic would probably tell you we can just do select minimum age and then put a comma and write first name, because that's the column name which contains the names in the specific table, from sample data. And when we run it, we get an error because the first name is not contained in an aggregate function. Basically what this tells us is, as I had mentioned in the beginning of the video, this min function only works on a specific column, and it sort of blocks out all other data that you're trying to access when this min function is being run. So you can't specify another column and think, okay, it's going to find the minimum age and then drag out the first name of the data from in the row which the minimum age is residing in. So it doesn't work like that because minimum is an aggregate function and works on its own. So what you can do is basically use this concept of nesting data or nesting SQL queries. So how that works is, you do select age and first name from sample data, which is the table's name, where age is equal to, here's where it gets interesting. So if you wanted to, just the first 2 lines of the statement would withdraw everybody's age and first name, but if you wanted to withdraw the youngest person in the table or the people with the youngest age, if there are multiple of the same age, your age would have to equal to the minimum age in the table, right? So you can probably see where I'm going. You can open the bracket and basically nest or embed another SQL select statement inside this, which pulls out the minimum age from the table. So this is basically the statement which we had run initially, which was just to find the minimum age. So you do select minimum age from sample data. Oh, sorry. And close the colon. So as you can see, this age here, this condition where, which makes the age, which uses the age, will pull out only ages and first name where the age is equal to the minimum age, because this nested select query will pull out the youngest age and give it to this condition, and then only the age and first name of people with that youngest age will be withdrawn. So let's just confirm that. we run, and yeah, we can see we've got the person who's 1 year old, and we've been able to plot their name, which is Jerry. So that's all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video and this channel so that we can continue making these videos. Thank you.